My F27 brother, M34, and his fiancée, F31, are getting married soon. My husband and I got our invitation, all fine. However, this is the problem I am having with them. I'm not a bridesmaid / in the bridal party because I have a baby and as she's very young, 4 months now, and I was either pregnant / with a newborn during most of the wedding planning. It was for the best. So I'm just a regular guest as everyone else, right? Well, my brother and his fiancée came over a few days after they sent the invitations because they wanted to talk to me. My future sister-in-law basically told me she has gotten a dress for me and she'll love for me to wear it for their wedding. I was kind of like, okay, thanks. But why? You know? At first she didn't want to tell me why they've chosen a dress for me, but finally she told me that I tend to draw too much attention to me. Last year our other brother got married and my future sister-in-law thinks that she doesn't want to risk having me show up similarly to their wedding. BTW, I wasn't wearing an inappropriate dress or white, anything like that, I was wearing a normal formal dress. I was very confused by this and I asked what she meant, because as I said I know how to dress up for a wedding. I reassured her she shouldn't worry about being outshined because for starters it's her wedding day and everyone will be paying attention to the bride and groom. And secondly, I won't wear an inappropriate dress with like too much cleavage or something. Her family is rather conservative, so I thought maybe she was more scared of her family's reactions. We discussed this for a while and she told me that the problem is my weight, she's a little overweight and I'm not, always had problems gaining weight, even while pregnant, so she feels insecure and that's why she wants me to wear a dress that would cover me completely. This is where I think I might be the asshole. I told her that her insecurities were not my problem and that it was weird to ask me to wear a certain dress just because I'm skinnier than her. She told me that she knew I'd have this reaction because supposedly I always want to be the focus of attention. She also said that my life has always been easier and it's not fair that I want to steal her wedding day as well. I asked her if she was doing this with every other woman who was skinnier attending the wedding and she said no, so I told her that's a shitty move. We argued and then my husband and brother got in between us too, so they argued as well and finally we kicked them out, but not before I told them to enjoy their damn day because I wasn't attending the wedding, for which they accused me of being a drama queen and wanting to embarrass them by not going. Well, I'm more calm this and this has caused quite a fight in our family as well. I admit that I was so tired and stressed that day because my baby had been sick all the prior day / night. So I don't know, do you think I exaggerated here? Or were they truly rude to ask me something like this? Comment 1. NTA if the situation had been reversed and you had been asking her to wear something specific because of her weight you would have been accused of fat shaming. It was very rude of them to ask what they did. I could understand if you had a habit of turning up to these kind of events in a bikini but you don't. You do dress appropriately so it's all down to her jealousy is all. Comment 2. Are you one of those women that bounced back from your pregnancy and you look like you didn't just have a baby? If so, she's totally jealous. She's afraid people will be paying more attention to the fact that you don't look like you just had a baby. Insecurity overload. It's sad that your brother doesn't see it, and now his sister will not be at his wedding and the relationship will be severely damaged. Comment 3. I have 6 sisters-in-law, they are stunning and tall and blonde. I am not, I'm pretty but not the models NY damned husband has for sisters. They were all my bridesmaids in flattering dresses. I knew they would look beautiful but I would shine as it was my day marrying my darling love. Sister-in-law needs to remember what the wedding is really about. I, F23, am 6 months pregnant with my boyfriend, M26, and my first baby. I have had a few complications. I am now on a blood pressure pill which has made me more exhausted than usual. During Mardi Gras season my boyfriend and I have been attending parades with friends the past month. I recently had a talk with my boyfriend and told him that I needed a break from parades because it was taking a pretty heavy toll on me. I was in a lot of physical pain from all the walking and ended up catching COVID and had to quarantine. Mardi Gras weekend was this past weekend and my boyfriend asked me if I would go to parades with him. I agreed to one because I have a friend that lives on the parade route and allowed us to watch the parade at her house. He still wanted to go to parades for the rest of the weekend though, and told me that if I didn't go then he wouldn't be able to go since his car isn't safe to drive in the city and he wanted to drink. After some convincing I agreed only if we bring chairs for me to sit in. On the day of the parade I went to pack both chairs, but he told me to only pack one since he'd be standing most of the time. We were rushing out the house and ended up getting to the parade later than we planned, so we had to park further away from where we were meeting friends. Ultimately we ended up walking 11 blocks to meet them. Halfway through the walk I had to use the restroom and couldn't hold it anymore. My boyfriend was upset with me because we were already running late and for the rest of the walk gave me the silent treatment. When we finally got to the spot I was completely out of breath, overheated, and my feet were on fire. He set up our chair and then sat down in it. I asked him if I could sit down and he told me to just give him a minute. I was almost in tears at this point and visibly upset, so this kind stranger who was set up a little bit further down the route ended up asking if I wanted to use one of his seats. I thanked him and we had a nice but short conversation about my pregnancy. Once we got home I had a conversation with my boyfriend about how I felt that he didn't care that I was pregnant and should have given up the seat for me. I also said that it was sad that a stranger had to give up his seat for a woman he didn't know, but it shows that it's common courtesy to do so for pregnant women. He told me that he made the same walk as me and his feet also hurt and that the man didn't even know that I was pregnant. I then lashed out and called him selfish and a horrible boyfriend. After I said that, his entire mood changed and we had a very long talk about how his medication has changed the way he feels about other people and that I need to loosen up and stop being so harsh on him. I'm worried that I was too harsh on him by calling him selfish and that I'm expecting too much special treatment because I'm pregnant. I don't know how I feel about this. Comment 1, I'm going to be honest and say I mostly skimmed this. NTA. Pregnant women get to sit down. He should be taking care of you. If he thought he'd need to sit down he should have brought a chair, but he told you not to bring it. Sure, you're not helpless, you're just pregnant, but you've been doing so much for him. The min he can do is let the mother of his unborn child sit down. He's not chivalrous at all, and that's a bit concerning considering you're about to have a child with him. Comment 2. Listen up and listen good. You will be the asshole if you don't dump him now. He is abusive and you should not expose yourself or your baby to this waste of space of a boyfriend. He will be a horrible father and you need to get out now. Everything about his behavior is abusive. You are being abused. Get help and get out. Do you have family you can stay with? Comment 3. This man doesn't care for you. You need to get out of the relationship and set up a home for yourself and the baby. He will drain your time and resources and think only of himself. Move back to be near to your family so you have support. You deserve better. My 2 oldest kids are in college and working part-time to earn spending money. They live at home and we pay for their tuition, cars, insurance, basically everything except their spending money. I have my own small construction company and run a crew of about 15 men including my son. Lately we've been doing mostly roofing jobs. My son's job is to help take off the old shingles, pick up any shingles that miss the dumpster, and help prep the roof. Once the installation starts, he delivers a steady stream of shingles, nails, and other materials to the nailers. It's a dangerous and hard job, so I pay him about $25 per hour. My daughter works as a cashier, but most of the time she's standing at the self-checkout lanes and rarely behind the register. She's paid about $15 per hour. Last weekend my son bought his girlfriend a new iPhone for Valentine's and was talking about the restaurant he's going to take her. Since it's an expensive phone and restaurant, my daughter asked where he's getting the money. That led to how much I'm paying him and she got mad. He's been working with me for about 4 months, but she's never shown any interest in what we do or ask anything about his job or pay, so it came as a surprise to her. The short version of a week-long argument in our house is that she thinks it's unfair he's making so much more than she is. I offered her the same hourly wage if she wants to join her brother on the roof, but she went once and didn't finish out the day. Instead, she wants us to make up the difference between their paychecks. My wife thinks I should come up with an easier job, like just let her pick up the shingles that miss the dumpsters. I said that's an easy job and I'm not paying her $25 per hour for a minimum wage job. I told her that she can make as much as her brother, but she doesn't want to carry heavy and dirty singles. Now both women are giving me the silent treatment. Last night, when my wife went so far as to eat dinner with our daughter before my son, and I got home at 6 and later went to bed without saying a word to me all night. Comment 1, NTA. This is a valuable life lesson for both your children, that they have to rely on themselves to earn what they want. How would your son feel if his sister, who literally quit the same more taxing job he performs daily, just gets a free ride because she stomped her feet and threw a tantrum? And how would your daughter behave in the cruel real world if you gave in now? She would go up to people she isn't related to and demands things she hasn't earned, or turn down key career opportunities because she thinks she can and should start at the top right away. Comment 2. NTA. This is a hill to die on, OP. You're paying your son's fair wage for the job he is doing. Your daughter is receiving a fair wage for hers. She needs to learn that she can't live off of handouts all her life, and that if she wants to be paid, then she needs to get a different job. She's an adult now and has to find her own way to get more money. Seriously, don't back down on this. Comment 3. If you're paying according to the job, that is, another person doing the same job as your son would receive that wage, and all cashiers receive a wage similar to your daughter's, absolutely NTA. Your daughter is not only free to take the different type of job at your company, for that wage, but to seek employment elsewhere. This happened at Christmas, but we are still arguing over it, so I need your opinion. My bio parents gave me M39 up for adoption. It was an open adoption and they stayed in regular contact with me. They told me that the reason they gave me up for adoption was that they couldn't afford to take care of a child, so they gave me up hoping I would have a better life with another family. I think this is ridiculous because I have a bio brother who is only 1 year younger than me and they chose to keep him. So did their financial situation really change that much in a year? I just don't believe them. The problem is that no one understands me. Every time I bring this up, my bio parents call me ungrateful and say they did what they thought was best for me. I once talked about this to my bio brother, and his kids M17, F16, were also present. My bio brother literally laughed at me and told me to grow up, and I'm too old to still be upset about this. My bio nephew didn't care and just went to his room without saying anything. My bio niece said, "I'm sorry this happened to you. You are right to be upset. I can't even imagine how hard it must be for you." That was all I needed to hear. She was the first person who said that to me. That was when we started getting closer. She is the only person who I actually feel like is my family. For Christmas I decided to only buy gifts for my family. This means my adoptive family and my bio niece only. Now my bio brother is mad at me for not buying a gift for bio nephew as well. I told him that I don't care about his son and don't consider him my nephew. He called me a cold-hearted a-hole and said that his son considers me an uncle and I've watched him grow up, so how can I not consider him family? But I can't help how I feel. Comment 1. YTA. Your nephew was probably uncomfortable with the conversation and that's why he left the room. Remember, you were basically trashing his grandparents. It really wasn't appropriate to have this discussion in front of the kids. I'm glad your niece validated your feelings, but she was under no obligation to do that. This situation has nothing to do with her. Also, if you think you're still going to be allowed in your bio niece's life, think again. Even when she's old enough to make her own decisions, she will probably not want to be around someone who judged her brother so unfairly. Comment 2. YTA. Your bio nibblings are not your emotional support animals. They are not in any way, shape or form are responsible for your bio parents' actions. You punish your nephew because he didn't say/act how you want him to act, but he is a kid, not your therapist. I, 24F, am the youngest sibling. I'm child-free by choice. I don't hate children, but I don't enjoy taking care of them and wouldn't volunteer to babysit anyone's kids. My sister Jane, 30F, has 2 kids with her husband, ages 5 and 2. Jane and her husband have been planning an overseas vacation and she asked me if I was interested in coming. I said I'd think about it as money is a bit tight for me and with the flights and hotel it was going to be pricey. Jane is a lot better off financially than I am, so they can afford these sorts of things. Her husband makes 6 figures. I had a look through my finances and told Jane that I could come along. She was ecstatic. She said that she understands I don't have as much money to spend on fun things. She asked if I'd be willing to watch the kids in the evenings and share a room with them, and in exchange, she and her husband will give me $400 to go towards my flights. For your info, this is a 2-week-long vacation and $400 is only half the cost of my flights, which she knows, and the entire cost of the vacation not including food or entertainment is $3,000. I declined Jane's offer and explained that I'd rather just pay for them myself and be able to do what I want in the evenings and have my own room in the hotel. I feel like I can't justify still spending that much money on a vacation if I can't fully enjoy it. Jane asked if I wanted more money and I told her I'd rather just pay for it myself rather than complicate things. She seemed angry but told me that was fine. Later she confronted me and said that if I'm not going to accept the money, could I at least watch the kids for 3 afternoons on the vacation, as she and her husband want to go out for romantic meals. I declined. We got into a heated argument, and Jane said that she feels like I should because she's the one planning the vacation. I told Jane if she feels this way then I'll just not go. She says I'm being unreasonable and that watching my nieces for a few hours isn't such a huge sacrifice. Comment 1. NTA. Your sister seems to want you along to babysit. Which isn't something you owe to her, nor is it something you should feel pressured into doing. Comment 2. Don't go on vacation with them. Your sister invited you so you can take care of your nieces, and now that you've said you won't, it's going to be too uncomfortable for everyone. Comment 3. NTA. Your sister doesn't want to go on a vacation with you, she wants you to pay for the honor of being her full-time babysitter. In your shoes I would simply not go with them and plan a nice real vacation for yourself. A few days ago I went with my boyfriend to one of his late cousin's wedding. I never meet this cousin or the bride since my boyfriend see them like 1 or 2 times a year. We have been together for almost 3 years, so he thought it would be a good time to introduce me to them. My boyfriend told me he wanted to introduce them to me before the actual ceremony started, so we were going to meet them, but my boyfriend got a call, so he told me to wait a moment and got a little far so he wouldn't have been interrupted. 2 minutes after that I saw a woman with a beautiful wedding dress. I said hello and then I congratulated her for the wedding, and this is when things went wrong. The woman I was talking to wasn't the bride. The bride heard what I said. She was in a room near us, but I didn't notice cause everything was silent. The bridesmaid or her mother weren't with her. I guess she just wanted time alone before the ceremony started. And got upset and started crying. When my boyfriend approached us, I explained him the situation, so he called the bridesmaid and the mom to calm her. My boyfriend and his family reassured me, saying it wasn't my fault, but the bride, her mom and the groom are upset with me and are saying it's all my fault. I never saw her face, so when I saw a woman in a wedding dress, I immediately thought she was the bride. Comment 1. I don't understand why they are mad at you. They should be upset at the lady who wore a wedding dress to someone else's wedding. What was going on with that? OP comment. Right? That's what I asked too, but they told me I still should have make sure she was the bride or didn't say anything since I didn't know her. But honestly, I would feel stupid to ask at someone with a wedding dress if she was the bride.